Hello friends, it's me Scott. I hope everyone is staying safe out there and doing what they need to do to staying safe. But you know, things are tough. Things are tough out there. I hope everybody is looking out for each other. So, what are we gonna do today? Today we're gonna look at the looking glass. The first thing I'm gonna do though is something I should have done a long time ago because I feel like the audio levels are terrible. So I'm gonna just listen to the stream myself for a moment. If you'll excuse me, I'm just put on these headphones like I'm just any old person, so you can really see my mullet. And I'm gonna go to the Twitch app, and I'm gonna go to the stream, and I'm gonna see if the audio is way too loud because I feel like, you know, Life is Yours is a great help to me, and is especially good at distracting me all the time. But sometimes I think Life is Yours' opinion on what a good volume is maybe differs from what my opinion. Okay. That's not bad. I feel like my voice could be louder actually, but okay. We'll go with this for now, but definitely anybody let me know if the music is too loud, because I know there's some streams I put on YouTube where it was like, man, the music is really loud. Okay, we'll go with this. I can take this off now, I think. So it looks like in the neighborhood of -40 decibels for the desktop audio is maybe reasonable. I don't know. Okay, also, today we're going to try something that is going to be weird, and I did not set up very well for it because I was missing one cable. But we're going to look at the looking glass, and we talked about it a little bit before. How do I even show you a website? I can't share the... Okay, let me try this. I kind of think it's not going to work, but we'll just try this because it's going to get real weird. So let's try this, and let's try this, and let's try this. Oh man, there's no way I'm gonna, okay. Yeah, this isn't gonna work. Okay, you just have to take my word for it, that it's a cool thing. It's this machine. It's a, you know what, how about I have a camera pointed at it. Why don't I just point, let's just do it. Let's go. Okay, this is the looking glass. It is a small display, you can see, it's like a little monitor. But it's got this big old thick piece of material on it. It's like, I don't know, 2.5 inches, 2.25 inches. And I actually don't know if it's glass or acrylic. Seems like it might be glass, it's pretty hard, but it might be acrylic. I don't know, because I have a layer of plastic over it, so it's a little hard to tell. So we talked about this here machine before in the past, but the idea of it is you can show a specially formatted image on it, and that image will appear in 3D. And you don't have to be wearing glasses like you do with many other 3D technologies. And multiple people can use it, which is also not true for many other technologies. But you can see it's pretty small. That's my hand. I don't have very big hands, and it's pretty small. What could I hold up to it? Like this is a credit card sized thing. So it's pretty dang little. This model, the diagonal, is 8.9 inches. So it's kind of a cute little friend. The way it works is kind of crazy and a little hard to describe, but if you think about going to see a stereo movie, like you see a 3D movie, and you go to the theater and you put on those special glasses, the way it works essentially is that there's really 2 images at all times. And those glasses just make it so one eye only sees the other image. It's the same all the way back to the red-blue stereo, those like early 3D glasses. Is one eye sees one thing, the other eye sees the other thing, and because of that, you have the illusion of depth. The way this thing works is instead of just 2 images, there's 45. So that's what this this big piece of material is doing, is it's taking the image that is going to the screen and it's splitting it up into 45 pieces. So this is just a flat image, so we don't get any, you know, there's no 3D from it. But if I do this, hopefully this works. Yes. So do you see that? You see how that looks 3D even on a camera? So that's just a flat object, obviously, on a flat screen. But with this device, it looks like you're seeing a 3D thing. So it is pretty dang magical. Like, it's a pretty cool thing. There are shortcomings. One being is that it's very tiny. Also being that even though it's a pretty high-res display, I think it's like a 2.5K display, whatever you would call that. Maybe 1440p? I'm not sure. It's a pretty high-res display. In fact, let me just look and tell you. How do I look? We'll never know. Display settings. Click this giant screen. 2560 by 1600. So 2.5K. It's a slightly made up number, but it's a pretty high res to screen. But those pixels have to be split up into 45 separate images. And so really it's like kind of like it's 1/45th of that. I don't know if that's exactly true, but it's roughly like that. But it's pretty dang awesome. I have a piece of plastic over it to protect it, and I'm going to leave that on until it's like in the housing where it's going to go. But it's pretty amazing to just look at. I will say there's a pretty strong screen door kind of effect. So if you've used a virtual reality headset, especially one of the early virtual reality headsets, like even the pre-release Oculus headsets, you get like a little bit of cross-hatching pattern. But other than that, it's not bad if you show the right kinds of things on it, because there's some kinds of content that look really nice on it, and there's some kinds of content that just don't work very well. It also pairs pretty well with the Leap Motion, which is that little device that we looked at yesterday that does hand tracking, because then you get a 3D display and you get hand tracking. So really all I want to do today is just kind of play with this. And really, I also want to change this music, because we've tried so many stations and none of them, I feel like it's got to be the Happy Station has just, I missed it. This song. Okay, sorry. We've got the Happy Station. So I thought we would just look at some of the demos and look at some things that people have made and maybe think about how we might want to use it. I will say I've almost fully decided that my original idea for this, which was in those 3 separate kiosks around a big projection, is almost certainly not going to happen. And one, because we kind of decided a projection's a bad idea, but also I'm not totally convinced that the experience of this little screen, while it's cool, is maybe not exactly the experience I want to go for. So it does make me think I want to split off and use one of the other one of our studies maybe, and try to expand that into something to put here. And the one downside of that being is I need another computer. I have some thoughts on that. Their Udo has a new, pretty powerful little tiny machine that I'm very interested in trying out. So that might be the winner. But let's just look at some stuff and see what we think about this thing. So I believe I have some kind of Looking Glass app store or something. That was the wrong button. I opened the wrong thing. So now we'll just do the thing where I sit here and wait for the wrong thing to open. Okay, good. Very good. So this company's been around for a few years. My friend and collaborator David Lobster he actually did a piece for them. Where the heck is the library? Where are you, small library? Holoplay service? It's just called library. That right? Interesting choice. You could have used a slightly more detailed name, but that's okay. Okay, so let's just look at some stuff and see how it is. So one of the first things I see jumping out is this. This is work by Kijiro Takahashi, who is a Unity evangelist, I think. And basically his job seems to be to just make amazing things in Unity all day long, which is a enviable job. But you can see we've got this like little tentacle creature he's worked on. Actually, you can see if I go too far, it breaks down. You see how it like gets weird at the very end. But you have 45, I don't know if it's 45 degrees or just 45 is the range. I'm not exactly sure what or like the number of distinct images. I'm not exactly sure what the field of view is. I feel like maybe it is about 45 degrees actually. Okay, so He actually didn't release these for the Looking Glass, but somebody else collected a lot of his work and put it together here. Okay, so how do I launch this? Display 2, graphics quality fantastic. 2560 by 1600 and play. Okay, cool. So it, what happened? Did it crash? Oh, I see. I have to have it focused. That's not ideal, but all right. Okay, so he's got various pieces of work. It may struggle to run. So one of the things about this, even though it is a pretty small device, it's pretty computationally expensive because for animated content, you're basically rendering every frame 45 times. And I can even see my computer is struggling a little bit with the encoding. Hopefully that isn't true for the whole stream. I guess we'll see how that goes. Hopefully the video is okay. It's got little buttons on it here. Maybe some of these are a little less intensive. This one seems like it might be less intensive. So we got a nice field of grass. So something about it though, is you can see down here, this distortion. If you are very far forward in its kind of field of view, or not field of view, I don't know what I'd call that. Like in its, the Z plane, if you're far forward up here, you get kind of a weird, almost dithered looking distortion. So this scene looks like it has depth of field, which depth of field effects can kind of help mitigate that, but it's still a cool effect. Like this looks like semi-low res, but three-dimensional grass. This one just blows my mind. I think this is my favorite piece on here. Man, this really is struggling while streaming, so I will have to consider that for the future. But something about the way this is authored. I mean, even look at the light playing over it as we move it. Really, this one in particular, I think really does a great job of giving you a sense of that depth. I think the depth of field effect really helps with that, but it's something about the kind of art choices on this one. And again, he wasn't designing for this, it just happens to work well. Really work well with this, the kind of limitations of the screen. But it's pretty dang cool. I hope the video is tolerable. At least I hope the audio is okay. This is definitely running more slowly than it should be. Computer's struggling maybe a little bit because I'm doing kind of a lot of things, encoding video and rendering this. And this is a pretty burly computer. This has a 2070 in it. It is a pretty substantial video card. It might even be a 2070 Super? No, I can't remember. I hear the fans have spun up. So that's a cool one. Here's our little electric squid friend. Like this one I think works pretty well. Like little creatures just floating around it like it's in a tank, I actually really like. I'm really not sure how well this plays on video, but it's a pretty, yeah, me holding the camera is probably a bad idea. A pretty cool effect. And then we're back to that one. So I don't know actually how to stop anything or do anything at all. So I'm just gonna go over here and close out. Okay, that's very intensive stuff. I'm very curious about some of those things because maybe not. Those might be older demos. Kijiro now pretty typically works in the newer render pipelines, high definition render pipeline and universal render pipeline in Unity, which I don't think this screen supports. So it's kind of cool. I can mouse over. So here's a weird little friend. Should we try this? So this this little friend is just gonna dance around in his underwear? I don't know. So he'll float through cyberspace and be controlled with elite motion. Oh, this is like a full game. I don't know if I want this one, actually. I'm going to say no. Thanks, but no thanks, Eddie. But let's try this creature. This beautiful frog. I think this one also does a pretty good job. I think the lighting and presentation of it do a good job of working within the limitations of the device. It's called Froggo. The description is a mysterious frog that watches your finger. So I actually should probably put the leap over here so that can be true. But I don't know how well it will do reading my hand, but we'll see. Okay, let's launch it. Display 2, graphics ultra. Play. Oh yeah, so that's my hand being tracked by the leap motion. And this frog is obviously pretty concerned about this torch that I'm holding. Seems like it's at the end of one of my fingers. Okay, that seems to be what this frog does. But it's pretty, like again, like as I tilt this, I hope you can see this. This may not read at all. I hope it reads at least a little. This really does appear to be, yeah, I think you can see it in the video. This really does appear to be a three-dimensional creature. You can see the left side of its face becomes more real. I guess it's the right side of its face. I've definitely been realizing that I have somehow developed a problem with left and right in my life. I blame the fact that I used to teach group fitness classes. Look at this guy. Some short animated videos. I think we want to try this one. This one seems to be... because I think this one leverages the leap motion pretty well. Yeah, I used to teach group fitness classes and would always say the opposite to tell the class what to do. Like if I was doing this, I'd be like, all right, lift your left arm while lifting my right arm. And even though that was close to 20 years ago, it still seems to affect me. So please forgive me if I embarrassingly mix up left and right. Would not be unheard of. Okay, we got this. All right. We got a dancing friend. Oh, that's my hand. And I can just kind of tickle him. Squish him. I can't seem to grab him. Oh, no, he just sort of squeaks. I can give him a little tickle. I don't know about this. I don't mean to beat you up, Sid. Okay, that's interesting. Well, it's a nice little dancing man. Again, I think this one does a reasonably good job of leveraging the screen with our strange dancing buddy. Okay, well, what next? Here's a cool alien, Art Bully. Now let's try this beautiful galaxy. I don't think this one has leap motion support. Maybe it's got... that's my mouse over there. So I can click and drag it, which is cool. So I'm curious, maybe this is a custom GPU particle system, because again, I don't think we're able to use VFX graph. I think this one works pretty well. For whatever reason, I feel like this one, the like screen door effect kind of shows up more. You got a weird moire pattern. And also, it's got so much movement that it's hard to show you on camera. And frankly, it's even a little hard to see in real life, to see the depth. So I think this one's pretty, but I don't know that it really does the best job of showing the showing the business. This one is weird. Let's get it. It does have leap motion compatibility. It's some So I can get in here and wiggle these. Interestingly, this one, oh, there was my hand. Okay, I got a hand. I get in there and tickle him. No, that's pretty cool. Oh no, I hit the camera. Sorry. I blew it. Okay. Actually, wait, we gotta get back in there because there's some other modes we need to try. Wait, launch. Launch again, please. Forgot. Alright, I think if we push this button, we get more modes. One of these buttons? No? Do I need to have my cursor over there? I really need to stop hitting this. That's probably very jarring. I apologize. Oh yeah, look at it. Some others. Let's get my virtual hand in there. Well, oh, I think I broke that one. Cool. So these are pretty neat. You can definitely see some of that weird distortion I'm talking about as stuff gets closer to the screen. I don't know what all these buttons do. I like the eggy mode. I like the bang the eggs around mode. Okay. Cool. Here's a nice, interesting. So these are shader based. Let's try this one. So some of this, I happen to know this first image was created with this. I believe this snail was actually fully created in shaders with sign distortion field by a very well-known kind of computer graphics artist, especially one who works in shaders. His name is escaping me. I apologize. Inigo, I'm sorry, his name's escaping me. Maybe there will be credits. Okay, there is an attribution button, so we can check the attribution. I'm wondering how these are going to work. Yeah, IQ is what he goes by. I just am forgetting the actual name. But I was actually just looking at, trying to learn some things about, is it sign distortion field? Is that the right word? Sign SDF field. I forgot what that actually stands for. I'm sorry, it's distance field, not distortion field. Sign distance field. Okay. So if these are SDF shaders, they're probably pretty heavy. And actually, oh, interestingly, this one is an Unreal one. Let me turn off the other music. The mouse has been captured, and I can't, so shoot. I know this stream is probably ridiculous. I don't know if it's even capturing properly, but hey, what are you gonna do? So I don't think this one has any leap functionality. And I don't know if I can get in there with my mouse and do anything. Kind of seems like no. All right, show attribution is this button. Okay. And then next scene and previous scene. That's pretty amazing. If that's all, so this is all done in shaders, but it is also a little hard to look at. So it's a little, maybe doesn't read super well. That is gorgeous. Who did this? So these are interesting. I feel like they're not working super well here. Like all of them seem like a little not so hot. It's also probably killing my computer. Maybe not. No, okay, I guess because this is all 100% GPU. That's a cool one. That one's by IQ, I believe. It's a little unfortunate there's no, I think this is all signed distance field as well. Wait, we should, maybe we'll try to do some signed distance field stuff on stream. I was, without even knowing it, I was accidentally doing it maybe 2 weeks ago. In doing 2D sign distance fields, but barely, definitely barely. Yeah, these all just seem blurry. I don't know what the problem is. Also, where was the snail? Did we even see it? I feel like I was lied to. Okay, I'm pretty shocked by what's happened here. Maybe I screwed it up. Well, I guess there's the snail. What else? Here's a nice snowy winter morning. Here's a strange swimming angel. Some anime friends. Volumetric documentary. Cool. Not crazy about that sound effect. I do actually like this one. It's pretty simple, but I think it's pretty effective too. I think it shows the. Are we still running that? Oh, well, not anymore. I think this one's. It's simple, but I think it's well done and pretty charming. So hopefully this one shows, I think this one probably will show the 3D pretty nice. Oh yeah, like look at the parallax of the near text versus the far text. And I mean, it's a little hard to look at. Like that looking glass in the background, I don't know how well it reads on the camera, but it's pretty distorted. And that's one of the problems with things. I think things that are kind of centered in the, like they're inside of the middle of the display, or kind of at the base of the display and not back inside of it and not too far forward, are kind of the sharpest area. Maybe that's sort of where this little pepper dog, is that a pepper dog? Maybe that's where the pepper dog is. Okay. So, and the way this one works is you can just type. Oh, but I have to click up there first. Hello. And it's very slow, but that's because this computer's under a lot of stress right now. Hello, friends. How'd I get that arrow? Oops. So it's a really simple, kind of strange little thing, but I think it does a good job of showing some of the strengths and weaknesses of it. I think it especially does a good job of showing that like parallax depth that you get from moving around, because it's really striking that you can see things moving across each other. So that one's pretty cute. Many of these I don't even. Cool. The ones that are games I don't know so much about. I do want to try that aquarium. I do want to try this because, as you know, I love polyhedra of all kinds. Can I touch it? I don't think so. I can push this button now. Very nice. Is this just randomized, strange, and interesting polyhedra? I am very fond of strange and interesting polyhedra, so I don't really have any complaints. It feels a little washed out, but that's probably my camera. Which camera is it? It's that one. Maybe I can lower the exposure and it will be better. That was the opposite thing. I made the exposure worse. Okay, let's try this. Maybe this is actually too dark. I'm doing what I can. It's pretty weird to try to film a screen. Anybody will tell you. Filming a screen, not the way to go. This koi tank looks quite lovely if it actually works that well. So what I'm kind of imagining, yeah, is that maybe this one looks very blurry as well. Maybe that's just the screenshot. But yeah, maybe I design a custom experience that's really made for this, rather than trying to use this. Because you know, as I think I mentioned this on the stream, I was finding myself trying to skew the project I was working on to work better on the screen, and that was like, well, why am I doing that? Why am I trying to force this project to work with some technology that it doesn't have to, and that didn't feel great, and so I decided maybe don't do that. I want to jiggle these fish somehow. It says there's presets, but I don't know how to do it. Okay, there's my cursor's in there. I can kind of do nothing. I can sort of just point at the fish. Did I miss some instructions maybe? Oh, I found the quit button. Okay, tab key for options, okay. Is audio too loud? It's too quiet? Who knows? Okay. All right, we have a number of fish. Good to know. Depth mode. Ooh, cool. Okay, so there's our camera depth pass. Dirty glass toggle. Wait, depth of field toggle. Depth of field toggle is good, except it's obscuring the instructions. Dirty glass, not crazy about. Backlight mode. Oh, blacklight mode. We can turn on and off bloom, and then we have some lighting presets. Interesting. See, so I like this one. I think it's pretty, but maybe it's better on one of the bigger displays. But at this size, the fish are just too small and they don't read very well. And the ones in the front and back are pretty distorted. I do like the water effect. I think that the water is pretty nicely done. The surface of the water, but on this little screen, it doesn't read maybe super duper well. Okay. I keep turning down my headphones and they still feel too loud. The moon. Terra. More fishies. Draclin, what is up? Are you mad about the menu? I understand. Draclin, this thing is pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Look at this boy. No, it's Brenda. I'm sorry. It's not a boy. It's Brenda. Unless it's a boy named Brenda. Could be. No, clean her room. Okay. Well, let's try it. This is Brenda's room. Brenda is ready. All right, Draclin, this is a looking glass. And let me get it going. So I've talked about this a few times. This is the first time we're actually looking at it. But, how do I do this? Fantastic quality. Okay, yes. But this big old thick piece of material there's an image on the screen that looks crazy. Like the image that's actually on the screen looks insane and distorted. There's like 45 more, there's 45 images all crammed into one. So the image that's there looks nuts. But then this is a complicated piece of optics that is then splitting that into 45 different viewing angles. So as I move around it, you see it. Yes, I left this on. I might return it and I might put it in an enclosure, and I don't want to damage it before it actually goes out, either out into the museum or back to the manufacturer. So, oh yeah, we'll peel it. We'll feel the peel. But it's pretty dang cool. So like this, do I have to, is that the right, are we here? Okay, Brenda, this isn't 3D, so this is not useful. I don't know how to click this. Oh, maybe this? Okay. Yeah, so I don't know, maybe this one won't read very well. Yeah, I think it does. Like, look at Brenda. We can see both sides of Brenda. So interesting. This is the first one we've looked at that's pretty cartoony art style. We're kind of having the same problem though with stuff that's beyond a certain depth. You just get a lot of distortion, and I don't know if you can really see it on stream, but it's almost like a dithering effect. It gets pretty kind of pixelated back here. Reset the game, yeah. Sure. I don't know what I'm doing. The borders are actually what you're seeing is not the borders. You're seeing the reflection. So what you're seeing over here, kind of on this side and inside with where the camera is, you're actually seeing the inner reflection of the inside of the material. But it's not, I feel like it's a depth problem. The things far in the foreground and things far in the background. Like, see the bed looks a little crazy? Okay, I'll just push some buttons. Oh, this is a weird game. So I can turn. Wait, I don't know. Okay, I don't know if I can deal with this game. What am I doing? Wait, is this how you walk? Do you have to walk 1 foot at a time? Oh yeah, very good. I probably need 2 hands. It's a little hard to get over here. I like that plant looks like a Frylock. This is a pretty good walking situation. I'm pretty into it. I apparently can't. Okay, let's try another one. It's pretty cute. I like the music as well. The people just yelling hey. It's kind of quappy. It has some quap to it. Hollow clock. Lots of aquariums. I think this thing does kind of... All right, let's try this one. David made this. Tetrahedral octagon honeycomb, which pulsates in relaxing breath-like oscillations. And I think this one... I thought he had leap motion support in this, but maybe not. Whoa. No, this one doesn't have... Wait, it does. It does. Because I jiggled it. Does it not? Maybe I'm not telling the truth. Okay, we can use our mouse though, right? I just want to get in there and just jiggle this honeycomb. Yeah, there we go. Oh yeah. This is a very David project. Yep. It is very 3D. I think you definitely see the 3D more with the movement. A 2D video stream, probably not the best way to... it's probably laggy because this thing is very computationally expensive. Because it's rendering... Especially, so I think they maybe have done work to make it better sense, but some of these sketches we're looking at are a little bit older, like, a few years old. And I think they've done some work to optimize, but you're essentially rendering every, when you render for VR, you're rendering both eyes every frame, right? With this, you're rendering 45 views every frame. And I think maybe early on, they literally were rendering the entire view 45 times. Maybe, I don't know how optimized it is. It would make more sense to me to render slices and composite them, especially now with Unity's universal render pipeline. I would imagine that there's more efficient ways to do that, but I don't actually know the details. I just know that it's quite intense. I want to poke at some slime. They have a Unity SDK and they have an Unreal SDK. They may have some other SDKs, but most of this stuff was made in Unity. And actually, they do something pretty cool. When you are in Unity, if you have this plugged in, just straight from the editor, you can develop directly on the screen, which I kind of want Unity just to do in general. Okay, we want display 2, graphics, medium, screen resolution. I have a feeling this one's going to be real heavy because it's fluid-like. Okay. Can I get my hand in here? Oh, yeah. There's my hand. Oh, look at all this fluid. Looks like metaballs. There's just a bunch of metaballs. That's a whole lot of fluid though. Cool. So yeah, all this stuff. Very 3D. The parallax really comes through. I don't know if you can see the depth very well, but you can certainly see the parallax as I move it. We can also see it's like kind of jaggedy. It's weird because it's simultaneously one of the most high-tech things I've ever seen in my life, but also simultaneously one of the lower tech things. Like it has this weird property of feeling both extremely high-tech and a little bit low-tech, just because it's sort of low resolution. So they have an 8K version that is so tremendously expensive that they don't tell you the price. I'm guessing it costs around $20,000. It's a monitor. All it is a monitor. So it is, the thing that makes this special is it's like a 2.5K display, but what makes it special are the optics, which kind of map pixel for pixel to the display and then split them into the 45-degree viewing angles. And then they have an SDK, and the whole function of the SDK is to render these kind of crazy images. In fact, what if I do this? Maybe this will let you see. Okay, yeah. So this is what the image that's going to that display looks like. It is this crazy smeared thing. And actually, we're only seeing the upper left corner, but hopefully this gives you the idea. Yeah, it's funny. It does have a little bit of an old school kind of vibe, like not aliased, a little chunky. I like it. I think it's just not quite what I want for the project that I've been working on, but I think I kind of want to do a different project with it. I scratched the paint on the wall a little bit, moving this around. Don't tell anybody. Shh. Okay. Well, that was some fun slime. So yeah, it really is well suited for the Leap Motion. I mean, it's one of the like better uses of the Leap Motion, I would say, because you see in 3D what is happening, or better justifications for the Leap Motion. Showing you weird images of this room I'm in. Don't look at my private plant over there. My fake flowers. Okay. We good? We happy? Yes. Oh, interesting. Probably. I don't know that that would look great. I mean, almost like Vaseline over the lens kind of thing. I think you could, and I could imagine like if you were doing some kind of weird like horror, or like wanted kind of a creepy feel, or like a microscopic feel or something. Like you had this in an installation where you're in like looking into weird little tanks with creatures in them. Maybe that would work, although it could mess up the optics, because like the screen optics are so, it's what makes this thing work. So if you did something like Vaseline over the lens and then it changed, it actually probably wouldn't work, weirdly enough, because I think even anything that was slightly transparent and uneven would sort of change how the images are refracting. Maybe? That's a guess. But I would kind of anticipate. I mean, it's a little smudgy on here. I don't know. It probably doesn't pick up on the video very well. I would bet like even a little bit of oil to a certain degree messes with it a little bit. Although now that I say that, they have a higher end one that is touch sensitive, so maybe it's not that much of a problem. But my idea of smearing Vaseline over it would probably mess up the image. Okay, burb. What else do we like? We got a nice plant here. Let's grow a plant. Excuse me. Okay. Wait, where's my hand? Oh, that's cool. You can snip? Okay, I really am not. I'm going to just move the Leap Motion back over here because it's really not. Okay, so I can snip. That's cool. I just killed my, wait. So I can grow new little twigs? a little hard to see what I'm doing, but this one looks pretty nice. Definitely some like aliasing artifacts, especially around the leaves. The chopping is pretty fun. Okay, so I can click this and change my pot. I can do this and rotate my plant. And I can use the leap to grow. This is nicely done. I don't think I would want to do anything for the museum that required, you know, finger gestures or anything like that, but very nice. Oh, like a 3D printer viewer. That's pretty cool. Here's another friend. Okay, so we've seemingly have gone through the whole library. These models look kind of nice. So what do we take from that? I feel like some of the abstract things worked a little better. And some of the more dramatically lit things worked a little better. I think that the frog actually worked pretty nicely. 3D conversions of old paintings originally made by master artists. Okay, is this gonna be good or terrible? Only time will tell. Oh, it would be kind of interesting to try to watch. This actually looks not too bad. Again, it's pretty blurry. Let's see how it looks once we actually are running. These they have a special image format. I forgot what they call them. What happened here? Did it go? Okay, so it just cycles through them? Okay, I didn't even realize it was actually working. So these are kind of, they're kind of 2.5D. So sort of flat, extruded pieces. That text really does not look great. Okay, you can get rid of the text. It looks not bad, just pretty soft. But I do feel like I'm not seeing a ton of the distortion that we were seeing on some of the other ones. So that's interesting. What next? Cool Nixie clock. Did we miss anything amazing? I kind of feel like we hit the ones that jumped out to me as, well, they say they're nice fireworks, so how can I? So one of the things that does bum me out about this is is if it doesn't work with the universal render pipeline, and I haven't fully validated this, but I think it doesn't. If it doesn't work with the universal render pipeline, then it doesn't work with, welcome back, any of the visual effects graph stuff we've been doing. Okay, say everything again. We just looked at some other ones. They weren't super great. They're okay. Here we got some fireworks. I feel like they're just kind of okay. I'm a little underwhelmed by the fireworks, I will admit. So many fishy ones. I guess people really saw this as a tank. I'm gonna say the froggy was pretty good. Let's look at some of these creatures. Well, okay, so I bought, we ordered 3 of them just because it seemed like it would be wise, because there's sometimes a lead time, so we thought, oh man, we should order these just in case we really do want to use them. But I think that it's tough because it's really cool, but it is pretty low fidelity in certain ways. And let's see, how can I describe my misgivings? So I think maybe the biggest thing that was bothering me is I found myself, after I had the idea of using this, like suddenly I felt obligated. Like I was suddenly trying to cater the thing I was creating to this. And that, I had all that 2D stuff and I was like, oh, I have to make this 3D. And I was working all the 3D procedural geometry, trying to figure all that stuff out. When in the end, I was kind of like, well, nothing is saying that I have to make this 3D, except that I kind of want to use the looking glass. And so it became one of those kind of murder your darlings kind of things where it's like, okay, I'm trying to incorporate this. Am I getting really choppy? I think that one was really slowing me down. Okay, I'll close that one for a moment. Yeah, sorry about that. I think that one was very heavy. Kind of a murder your darling situation where when you have a project and there's one aspect of the project that you're bending the entire project to make it work, it's maybe time to reevaluate whether you really want that in there. But also, there's parts of the larger project I'm reconsidering anyway, because I'm not going to be able to project. And so some of the early ideas I had for how to format things and what the interaction would be, those things are changing. And it may be that it looks like the timeline of the project is going to change. I won't get into all that today, but I think the nature of what I want to do has changed somewhat. And after seeing this and really seeing what it is, I think I want to make something with it, but like a small thing with it that's a little more intimate, which is different from the bigger shared experience that I want to make for my kind of the main residency project. So that's kind of where it is. So I would like to, if I can make it work in the budget, have a separate project that I do with this, where we probably use the Leap Motion and we maybe adapt some of the studies that we've done recently to work on it. In fact, I would actually like to try some of those studies, but I think Universal Render Pipeline, I feel like it's not going to work. Let's open Unity, because we can just poke around at it a little at least. And I probably won't stream for too much longer today. But let's try this. I think what's cool about it is, from your computer's perspective, it's just another display. And so you can send 2D images to it like this, and it's fine. That's just my desktop wallpaper. But you can also send these weirdly formatted images and get the cool effect. Okay, opening Unity. Yeah, it's a cool thing. I don't exactly know what to do with it yet. So if I go here and I do hollow play, toggle preview, we should see, yeah, so I've got this little Unity scene. That's their little example Unity scene. With my little island of hamster friends, or whatever those are. Forgive me for clumsy switching, but I had to unplug the main monitor that I normally use to plug this thing in. So did Unity just crash? Unity also might have just crashed. Oh, Unity's over there somehow. Okay, I think I got it back. That was weird. Okay, so, and just to show you again, we can only see the corner of it, but this is the image that we're sending to it. Oh, looks like this, because we're seeing a lot of angles of it simultaneously. So this is the Unity editor, and if I move the camera around, presumably this hollow capture. So I'm curious about how efficient it is. I haven't looked deeply into how they do their rendering, but if it's how efficient they are with that. And there's lots of little examples. This one I think is one of the most illuminating examples. what it looks like with and without post-processing. So let me go in here and toggle it somehow. Okay, see, I mean, it's pretty obvious, especially that one far in the back. See how it just kind of becomes broken and ghosted if you don't use some of their post-processing effects. And similarly, there's problems with text, and yeah, placing text is tricky for sure in this. Kind of as the text moves in and out, you can see there's kind of a sweet spot where it works, but when it gets really close to the front, it gets really distorted, and when it gets to the back, it gets distorted. So like, even this other text looks bad. I don't know why. I feel like this text should look better. Maybe there's something wrong with my setup. This stuff over here. Yeah, this is, again, this is weird because it's not, you're just seeing the internal reflection. So this isn't really the border. You're just seeing the inside of this surface over here. It's just the weird internal reflection of it. But yeah, it does end up looking that way. It doesn't look that much like that in when you're seeing it in 3D and head on and not too close to it the way the camera is. I don't really see it from a couple of feet away just looking at it. I'm not seeing that internal reflection. I think it's just because this is a very wide angle camera lens and it's pretty close. You know, it's probably only 10 inches away. So it's seeing the insides of those more than I do. It's not that the camera's creating an illusion. If I put my face up close to it, I can kind of catch that too. It's just that I have to be way closer to see the insides of that. So I think it's just a lens angle thing. What was your question? Sorry. How did I build this background? Or how would I build this background? Well, yeah, it could be. So I can't quite tell from here. So it's hard to say exactly how much of this is normals because probably I would just have to guess that a lot of the bricks are normals. Is there a way I can show this on the screen? That'd be cool. Over there. Yeah, this is a tiny horse. If those are, can I do the thing? Okay, there's our horse. I would imagine, yeah, my assumption would be that it's less geometry. If this was a game asset, if this is just somebody's static art project, maybe they didn't care, and those are really like, super high detailed sculpted pieces of geometry. I mean, the stuff that looks like geometry is probably geometry. Those kind of pieces, the pieces that extrude forward with kind of the big stone caps at top. But yeah, there's a couple things. One, there's a ton of repetition. So those sort of central towers kind of look like they're just repeated. So I guess I would say I would maybe think about it like building those individual towers and then radially cloning them. And then the walls aren't, I mean, those wall segments seem a little less uniform. I wouldn't make this a cylindrical thing. I would make two-dimensional things and then put them in a cylinder form. It is my instinct. Maybe that's the wrong instinct, but I think that's what my instinct might be. Because in reality, you would kind of imagine that those big massive stones at the top are not rounded, that they're flat and that the cylindrical form comes from a bunch of flat things together. So I may be wrong about that. I mean, there's ways. Also, it's 3D, it's computer graphics. So you could actually build it as a long flat thing and then wrap it. You could do some sort of, what would you call that? Like a conform? I'm sure Blender has something like that, where you In fact, I would be very surprised if Blender didn't have a thing where you can take a round thing and then conform it to a cylinder without having to actually do any work. It would be, I don't know what they call it, some kind of deformer. Usually it'd be called curve modifier, that kind of thing. That would be my instinct, just to make a flat thing, because I think you'll have a way easier time. Because then, and again, to me, a lot of this detail looks like it's in the normals. Yeah, I was very interested to see what you come up with. But yeah, I would say flat and repeat things a lot. Okay, so Pro workstation. What does that mean? Oh, these are for the Pro. Multiple looking glasses, hardware buttons. Yeah, they have ways where you can kind of use two monitors. It's a cool background. I like it. I think you can. I just think of ways that you can make kind of the computer graphics aspect of it work for you. And I think flat and square things are easier than round things. So I can go over here. Oh yeah, okay, cool. I can raycast and hit these cubies, circles, spheres. So the thing, though, to me, the real like $1 million question is, can I use this with Universal Render Pipeline? I personally think that it would be wise of them to build their own render pipeline for this, but I don't know the specifics of how everything works. Yeah, wisdom of your tool. I agree. Like, so much of it is, it's tough because that, you know, there's cases, I could make the case that tools are like the most important thing, and understanding your tools and having fluency and fluidity with your tools, so they're not a barrier between you and your ideas, is the most important thing. But, or it's like a critical thing, you know, where it's like, hey, here's me, here's my idea. I don't want my tools getting in the way, which they do all the time. So there's an aspect of it where that's incredibly important, but there's also the aspect of it where like any one tool is irrelevant and doesn't matter, and another tool could do it. And also that, maybe even more so, that fluency of the tool or fluidity of the tool isn't always the same thing as sort of technical proficiency or maybe even fluency. Because something I've seen repeatedly with, especially in like art directors, is that so often I've seen people that I can guarantee you that I, on paper, know more about Photoshop than them. Like, it's because I've been using Photoshop for something close to 25 years now, and I just know so many dumb details, and I know so many things that would be like, well, the right way to do this thing is this. But I've seen designers and art directors that don't know, that know like 1/10 of that knowledge and still run circles around me. Like, so it's also, not knowing the tool can definitely get in your way, but also knowing the tool isn't like a free pass, you know? So it's kind of a complicated thing. I don't know if I explained that very well, but I guess you don't have to feel like you know every menu item and every option in Blender. I say this as a person, of course, that continually struggles with Maya all the time, but I think Maya's just not good. I think Maya's just bad software. Okay. So I just wanted to, I would probably stop pretty soon because I do need to get to some other things this afternoon. But hopefully this gives you an idea what this thing is and what it's capable of. So this one is the 8.9 inch one. This one is $600. There's one that's 15 inches, more like a laptop size display, and it's $3,000. And both of those are still kind of in this realm of quality. I think there's a pro version of the 15 inch one that might look a bit nicer. And then there's this one that's like an 8K full display size that is, I'm sure, tremendously expensive. So, you know, they're not cheap. And I don't know that it's worth paying that much money just to tinker with a thing. But if you have an idea that would really benefit from this weird sense of volume, that's the problem for me, is like, if the quality, if just sort of the out of the box quality at this price point and the performance were equal to what the awe factor is, because there's a major awe factor with this because it's just like nothing I've ever seen, but it doesn't balance with like what the actual on-screen quality is, if that makes sense. It's something I could look at and be like, man, in a few years they're gonna have this figured out when they have like micro LEDs or whatever the new tech is, where you have like these obscenely small pixels and all this new tech, and maybe the 8K display is already in that realm. Like there's some aspect of this where it's like, oh yeah, this is just part of the future. Maybe it depends on if they get that product out before everybody just has AR glasses on that are doing the same thing just on your face. So like I have a slight worry that the same thing's going to happen to this that I feel like happened to this, where they sort of got scooped by the march of technology. But we'll see how it goes, because it really is, it's a pretty special thing. So yeah, I just have a feeling it's not going to work, but we'll see. I forgot how to do it. Project settings. Oh yeah, this is good. Yeah, definitely that's gonna look great over there. So I want both. Oh man, really don't open on this monitor because I can't see anything. So we'll do a high quality universal render pipeline, and that just destroys everything. Like not even kind of work. Maybe there's a way I could get it to work, but I kind of feel like no. I kind of feel like it's just not gonna happen. I mean, just to try, and I'll write them and ask them too. Let's just try putting a proper material on it, but it seems like it's just not gonna happen. And that's a bummer, only because so much of the work we've been doing recently has been to figure out how to use the universal render pipeline and use the visual effects graph. Quilt settings. Yeah, I think it's just not the thing. Okay, that's okay. That's what I anticipated. Okay, so, well, we looked at this thing. I would like to try to make something for it. I think today's not the day. Maybe it'll be a little better if I could actually have this plugged in and the other monitor plugged in. But it does bum me out. I'll write them and ask them if maybe they have like some beta or preview package that works with universal render pipeline. I don't know, but it seems worth checking out. If not, there's ways to do all of that VFX graph stuff manually. Like you just pack data into textures and write custom shaders. So it's just kind of hard. Oh, that cool thing. Cool thing. Okay. Whoa, weird. That was the wrong screen. Well, it's a cool thing. I just got to think a little bit more about how to use it. So I thank you for hanging out today, and I will be back tomorrow, and maybe tomorrow we will, I don't know, Cracklin. We'll make something. We'll make something tomorrow. That's what we'll do. Okay. Have a lovely one. Stay safe out there, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye.